because I am not living my life. I am not living in my dream. I'm living someone else's life. And that's literally how I felt. As these thoughts started to arise, I just kept hearing a voice saying, Ladisha, you need to quit this show. Like, Ladisha, you need a break. Ladisha, you need to rest your body. Welcome to She Self-Invested. I'm your host, Ladisha, and get ready to tune into your go-to podcast to feel empowered, to show up authentically feminine in male-dominated spaces, while prioritizing spiritual self-care. Let's invest into ourselves together, starting now. Hello, work besties, and welcome back to the spiritual self-care portion of this series. As always, I'm your host, Ladisha, and if you haven't already, give me a follow on Instagram at sheself_invested to stay up to date with inspiring work week content. I hope that you ladies enjoyed last week's episode on mindful mornings. I hope that maybe you decided to take a routine out of it. Maybe you decided to start walking in the morning or journaling. Whatever it might be, I hope that episode was impactful for you, and I hope that you are having a prosperous work week so far. So let's get into episode 6, The Art of Letting Go, Releasing Workplace Frustrations and Finding Peace. Peace is so expensive. Oh my God. Peace is just the most expensive thing that we can achieve on this earth. And the reason why is because by being in a state of tranquility, I mean, a place of contentment is a place where you really get to connect with your spirit. It is a place where you get to connect with God. Connecting with God is so important, and I touched on this in the last episode. And it's not only important, it should just be a part of your lifestyle if you do have a spiritual side to you, if you do believe in God. I feel like being spiritual is a lifestyle. I don't think that it is a trend. It isn't something we just do on Sundays. It isn't something we just do because our family forces us to believe. Like, you genuinely have to want a relationship with God. And I'm saying all this to say, if you are one of those people that only focus on God on Sundays, or when you're going through something hard and when you're just praying for change, then that's the only way you're going to know how to connect. We should be able to connect with God 365, 24/7, meaning that we should also be able to connect with God in the workplace, which is why the theme of this episode is letting go of workplace frustrations and finding inner peace. We can't find peace without God. I first learned this when I decided to leave the film industry behind due to personal health issues, due to workplace frustrations, and due to me wanting to follow my own path. Simply as that. I will touch on that later on in the episode, so stay tuned. Having spiritual peace in a professional setting, especially if this is your dream job, is so important. It's important because if you are spiritually fulfilled in this role, you're going to overcome challenges easier than someone who's in a job that they hate, period. And you're going to do that because you're leading with God, because you're bringing God to work with you, which is why you're able to experience spiritual peace in a professional setting. If you are one of my work besties that are currently struggling with how to let go of a conflict at work or a challenge or some kind of workplace frustration, then this episode is for you. Let's get into the importance of letting go. Holding on to workplace frustrations can heavily impact your mental health, productivity, and overall well-being. Think of the idea of letting go as an act of self-care. Letting go is essential to finding peace because peace is the place that you know you belong in, if that makes sense. It's a place for you. And if you really want to grow within your company, you want a promotion, you want to level up in some kind of way occupationally, then you have to practice the art of letting go conflict, letting go of what someone said about you. The better you get at letting go and finding peace, the better you become at overcoming challenges. When I realized I started being more self-critical, I was having physical health problems. I was having the lowest thoughts. My mental health was literally declining. That is when I realized it was time for me to make a career switch. That is why self-awareness is so important. Being aware of your thoughts, being aware of your feelings, especially when you are experiencing a challenging situation at work, is so imperative to your career success, because by acknowledging what you are feeling, what you are going through, you are giving yourself permission to solve the problem. Let's get into some techniques for letting go. If you are ever experiencing a super stressful moment at work, simply practicing a deep breathing exercise can calm you down and bring you back into the moment. One of my favorite exercises is belly breathing. This is great not only for calming you, it is also great for the digestive system. Maybe you experience some form of stomach problems that can be IBS, constipation, whatever that might be. This is a great breathing exercise for you. And you can do this simply by breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, while focusing on gently pushing the breath down into your belly. You can also try counting from 1 to 5 while breathing in and out, in and out. Ladies, remember, our emotions are stored in our stomach. By doing these breathing exercises, this can help you release some of the tension that you might be holding on to while you're in the workplace. Next is mindfulness. We talked a lot about this in the previous episode, Mindful Mornings, but simply being present in the moment can help you neutralize frustration. One thing that I've seen a lot working in the film industry is people taking walks on their breaks or on their lunches. And I never understood why they did that. I'm like, why would you use your break or your lunch to go on a walk? But it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. The film industry is very stressful. It's high demanding, but it can also be rewarding and fulfilling. It's about what you bring into it. If you are experiencing any kind of stressful situation, if you are able to go on a walk at work, I recommend doing that simply just to clear your mind and to be present in the moment. Take light of the views. Be mindful, be present. Allow yourself to maybe think clearly on the conflict that just occurred. Figure out solutions. Don't hold on to what happened. So when you make it back from your walk, you're ready to move forward. You've already let go of the problem. Thirdly, we have spiritual reflection. Ladies, I need y'all to understand how the power of prayer, meditation, our time spent with God, how it can literally release burdens. Simply surrendering your problems to God can literally help free you of your stress. And I know, work besties, I know you're like, Letitia, but I know I can do it. I want to do it. Release it. Let it go. Instead of you holding on to your problem, ask God, how can you solve it? If you really just want to do it, ask God for the roadmap. Ask God for the blueprint to overcome this challenge, to overcome this obstacle. Pray about your situation. Ask and you shall receive. If you are one of my hyper-independent work besties, I know how challenging this can be because you're so used to doing everything on your own. But that is why we have such a immaculate God who is literally waiting for us to talk to him, waiting for us to connect, waiting for us to surrender our problems. And that's all he wants in return, is for us to have faith, for us to believe that our situation will change, for us to believe in ourselves to overcome this situation that we're experiencing. Simply that. Or if prayer isn't your thing, meditating, just focusing on a clear mind. I use meditation throughout my whole career working in the film industry. Every morning, I'm waking up, meditating, spending at least 10 minutes. You have to create time for yourself before you go into work. And I mentioned this on the last episode. You really do. You have to spend time with God, connect with your thoughts, connect with your intentions for the day so that you can have a successful and prosperous work week. The fourth technique is journaling. When I tell you, I didn't understand the importance of writing down my work frustrations until I worked in the film industry. I remember when I was working on a reshoot at the time, and I had so many frustrating moments to where it's just like, God, what am I doing here? I'm unhappy. I don't like this. God was just like, right, just write it down. Mind you, I'm on set. We're like, we're recording right now, and I'm writing in my journal with my headset in. I'm still listening to what's going on, and I'm writing down what I'm looking forward to, because I knew that my unhappiness was temporary. And do y'all want to know what I was focused on? This podcast. I didn't even have She Self-Invested. She Self-Invested wasn't even a thought while I was working in the film industry. I just knew that I wanted a podcast. I didn't know what it was going to be about. I knew I wanted to impact women. I didn't know how I was going to impact them. I just would brainstorm podcast ideas. And that helped soothe me at work. That helped me gain clarity on what it was I truly desired out of my life, besides working in the film industry as a sound utility. So the point that I'm making is, by writing down your frustrations, this can help you release whatever you're holding on to and help you gain understanding about what it is that you want on a spiritual level, not just on a career level, what it is that you want deep down inside. And lastly, perspective shift. By being able to reframe negative situations and seeing them from a higher perspective, this can help you focus on growth and learning. Here are 3 ways you can reframe negative situations in the workplace. Number 1, challenge your negative thoughts. Ask yourself if the thoughts you are thinking about are based on negative assumptions, or if you are justifying the event in your life. Next is asking questions. Ask yourself questions that challenges the assumptions that you're making about the problem. For example, you can ask yourself, what advice would you give someone if they are currently experiencing the situation? Or how can you turn your problem into a learning lesson? And lastly, identify thought distortions. By being able to identify these negative thoughts, this can help you break the cycle of any form of stress, anxiety, or depression. And those are the 3 ways we can refrain from negative situations in the workplace. Finally, the moment we've been waiting for. Why did I leave the film industry? Let's get into it, ladies. The reason why I truly left the film industry is that I felt like I wasn't myself. I felt like I was living someone else's dream. It didn't feel authentic to me. It didn't feel real. It felt stressful. On top of that, I'm dealing with all kinds of obstacles in the workplace. I'm dealing with micromanaging, getting sexually harassed, getting disrespected, misogyny, mansplaining. Don't get me wrong. These are all things that most women have experienced working in a male-dominated industry. But the difference is I didn't see myself being a sound mixer. I didn't see myself being a sound utility. I didn't see myself growing in this career. If anything, I felt small. I felt stuck. I did not feel like I belonged. I mentioned earlier in this episode how I was dealing with physical health problems. And that came from me working 12 to 16-hour days, sometimes back to back, not eating properly, not working out. On top of that, I'm self-critical, of course, because expectations have been placed on me as a woman of color in this department where I am the only one who look like me. So I want to make sure I'm doing a great job, perfectionist traits. On top of that, having the lowest self-thoughts, like very bad thoughts. What's ironic about that is I only wanted to be a coach and to have a podcast. Like that was like my only dream. And when I would tell like my sound mixer or someone I'm working with, they would be so confused, y'all. They'll be like, why? Like, why do you want that? Like, you have a career in the film industry. Like, they were almost like, why aren't you happy with what you have? And don't get me wrong, I thought about that too. I knew that something was wrong with me when I remember I got off of work and I just laid down, went to sleep. Next morning I woke up, it's Saturday, right? I do my thing and I remember just sitting in front of the TV, like staring at the TV. Nothing is on, by the way. And I'm thinking to myself, why is my life like this? I mean, I was so unhappy. At that time, I didn't realize that I was experiencing depression, but in reality, that's what it was. And I was talking to God, oh my God, I am so thankful that you blessed me with this career. You blessed me with high income. I don't ever have to worry about bills. How I'm gonna pay this, I'm gonna pay that. Like, I utilized my degree within a year of me graduating. Like, God, you have blessed me with so much, but why am I so unhappy? Why am I so unhappy? On top of that, I was having stomach issues, like digestive problems. I didn't know what was going on. And I just felt like my body was failing me. My mind was failing me. On top of that, I'm going to work. I'm dealing with someone micromanaging me. I'm not feeling a part of the team. I'm like, what am I doing? Obviously, my spirit is unhappy. Period. Point blank period. Like, my spirit is so unhappy with me right now because I am not living my life. I am not living in my dream. I'm living someone else's life, and that's literally how I felt. As these thoughts started to arise, I just kept hearing a voice saying, Ladisha, you need to quit this show. Like, Ladisha, you need a break. Ladisha, you need to rest your body. And for like a month straight, I ignored that voice until I started experiencing the worst stomach pains you can ever experience in your life. And I've never experienced pregnancy, but I mean, my stomach pains were so bad and my body was like, girl, you need a break. So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I need to quit this show. I need to quit this TV show. I've been working 6 months straight, back to back. I'm feeling myself burning out. I'm unhappy. I'm experiencing depression. I want to quit. Like, I need to put myself first. I need to figure out what's best for me. That process was so challenging because, one, my family did not take it the best. They did not understand why I was quitting, even though I'm telling them, like, guys, my body is physically failing me. On top of that, I'm unhappy with work. And like, they're just like, Ladisha, you can't just stick it out for like a couple months. I'm like, no. One, I'm grown. Two, I financially take care of myself, which means that I don't have to ask anyone to quit a job. I can just quit it. As long as I know that I have money saved, I know that I can pay my bills, I know that I'm good, I'm quitting. Like, no. On top of that, it's just like, how do I break this news to my crew that I need to do this? So I was just honest with them. Like, guys, physically, my body is failing me. Mentally, I'm not here. Like, I just can't do it anymore. And luckily, they were very receptive. They were actually supportive because they understand how most people can actually burn out working in the film industry, especially if you're not taking care of your body, you're not eating correctly, you're stressing out, you're not utilizing mindfulness, breathing techniques. If you're not doing any of that, it's so easy to burn out and break your body down. But once I just said I'm done, I started feeling so peaceful. Literally, I still remember my last day working on a show. When I made it home, I felt like a weight just lifted off me. I felt so free. And during that time of me being at home, I actually got into boxing. I got into dancing. I got into cooking, like I was eating right. I got back into yoga. It's like I was just taking care of my body again. I was taking care of my spirit again. And on top of that, I hired my first coach and I started pursuing my coaching business. And when I started doing that, that is when I found a sense of happiness. That is when I found a sense of peace. When I started doing what was best for me, what was best for my spirit, that is how you find true happiness. And I knew that I made the right decision because I found myself getting closer to God on a daily. I had more time to talk to God because I'm not working 16-hour shifts. I had time off from work. I'm spending time with God in the morning, throughout the day. I'm problem solving. I'm setting goals for myself. I'm looking towards the future. And because I decided to quit that film job, I am where I'm at today, not only in a second career, but pursuing this podcast, which was a dream of mine. and I'm living it. And I'm so blessed and I'm so thankful to have this kind of opportunity to impact people, to empower women to change the way they think about themselves in a male-dominated industry. I wake up every day blessed. I wake up every day happy. I wake up every day at peace. I am pursuing my soul's purpose, and for that I am blessed. In today's episode, we've explored the importance of letting go and how releasing workplace frustrations is essential for both our mental and spiritual well-being. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about freeing ourselves from the burdens that weigh us down, creating space for new opportunities, growth, and peace to enter our lives. We discuss powerful techniques like mindfulness, prayer, journaling, and deep breathing. Practices that can help you release the tension and negativity that often arise in challenging work environments. Remember, this journey of letting go is deeply personal and spiritual, guiding you towards the inner peace that's possible, even in the most stressful circumstances. I encourage you to take time to reflect on what frustrations you might be holding on to and consider how you can apply these practices in your daily life. Peace is within reach, and it starts with the decision to let go. I also shared with you ladies my personal story of why I left the film industry. I broke down the signs that I knew that it was time to move on. And I also discussed the process of letting go of that chapter in my life, the challenges I faced with my family, with my crew, and the peace that I found on the other side. As we wrap up today's episode, I want to encourage you, work besties, to take a moment to reflect on your own work frustrations. What are you holding on to that no longer serves you? And what do you need to do to release to find peace? Let this be the start of your journey towards more balance and fulfillment in your career. If today's episode resonated with you, I love to hear your thoughts. Share your experience with me on Instagram at sheself_invested, or leave a review. I would love to know how you felt about today's episode. Also, don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on the next episode. From burnout to breakthrough, healing and reclaiming your purpose in a new career, I will finally let you ladies in on how I pivoted to working in the live event industry as a ground rigger, so stay tuned. Together, we'll continue investing in ourselves, both personally and professionally. See you on the next episode of She Self Invested. Talk to you soon.